Hi everybody, it's Joel from LowerMyPressure.com. Thank you so much for taking the time to come visit today. You know, I really love doing this site, and one of the reasons is that I get to evaluate all the great new products that help people with stress, anxiety, depression, insomnia. And what I want to do today is to share with you a new product called the Alpha-Stim. Actually, it's not so new. It's been out for quite some time, but it's new to me, and I got a chance to evaluate it and use it. And what I want to share with you today is that if you suffer from anxiety or depression like I do, mainly anxiety, but if you have anxiety, you're going to have depression because you get kind of depressed about being anxious, and vice versa. If you're depressed, you kind of get anxious about being depressed. Now, I want to give you a ray of hope because you don't realize how close you are to feeling better. Now, when I thought about anxiety and my own problems with anxiety, it's some days you get up and you feel like there's this great divide, you know, it's like the Grand Canyon, and you look over and there's just no way you can possibly jump that. And so you don't even try, and you kind of feed into your own anxiety. And you know who suffers the most from that? We do. We beat the crap out of ourselves because we don't feel normal. How come I can't do this? How come I can't do that? You know, we're our own worst enemy. And we're so close to feeling better, which is what I found out with the Alpha-Stim. Now, what the Alpha-Stim does is that it uses small microcurrent, and I'll show you how the little electrodes clip onto each ear. And the microcurrent helps the brain to release its own natural chemicals, own endorphins, serotonin, norepinephrine, and it kind of gives us this subtle little push. We don't need that much, and that's what I found out. Now, drugs are kind of like taking a sledgehammer and hammering in a nail. We don't need that much, and it's overwhelming to our brains, as a matter of fact. It's not a good thing, and I've suffered a lot of side effects from drug therapy, and probably if you're watching this, you did too, or you're thinking about drug therapy, but you'd like to go in a different direction. So stick with me. We're going to go through how to use the Alpha-Stim, what you can expect when you use the Alpha-Stim, and how you get an Alpha-Stim. It is an FDA-approved device, so you are going to need a doctor's prescription, and I'll go through some little subtle things that you can do to help your doctor to prescribe the Alpha-Stim for you. Okay, so stick with me and we'll go through this together. Thanks. But here's a close-up view of my Alpha-Stim SCS, or Stress Control System. It's very compact, very well made, and extremely simple to use. It's only got two buttons in the front. It's got a power button and a time session button. By pushing on the timer button, you change between a 20-minute session or a 60-minute session. And on the side, you've got a power wheel, and it's just like a volume knob on a radio. It's also recessed a little bit, so once you set the amount of power that's going to be going to your ear clips, it doesn't get knocked. And so you can go ahead and put the whole unit in your pocket and go about your daily routine, and you don't have to worry about things getting out of adjustment. So that's a really nice feature as well. Now, depending upon how you react to the Alpha-Stim itself is going to depend upon how long of a session you're going to need. Once I turn the unit on, you notice it's at an hour. I need an hour because I can't get past the number 2 on. I'm very, very sensitive. What happens is if I adjust it past the number 2, I start to get a little bit dizzy and I start to get a little bit of a headache. So you want to adjust this until you don't feel any side effects at all. It's still effective. You don't have to worry about that. I have to do an hour session because if you can't make it to 2 or beyond, you really need a longer session. If you can make it past 2, then you can go down to the 20-minute session, which is just by pushing on the timer again. Notice it goes down to 20. That's it. I mean, that's how hard it is to use the Alpha-Stim. It's really, really simple. Now, what you want to do before you put the ear clips on your earlobes is that you want to wet them with a little bit of the conduction fluid. And this comes with the Alpha-Stim. This is about, I'd say, 30 to 45 day supply. And if the Alpha-Stim works for you, you should go ahead and go on the website and purchase. They have a big old bottle of this stuff. It'll last a long, long time. The same thing for the little felt pads. They give you plenty of felt pads, which are going to last, oh man, forever. But you may have to buy some eventually. It's got a very, very low amount of consumables that you're going to have to purchase in the future. So the cost of ownership is really low. What you're going to do is put a couple drops of the conduction fluid along the pads here. I just kind of go in a circular motion, and this is kind of tinted in a light green or emerald color, so you actually know if you've soaked the pads or not because you're going to see the color on the pads themselves. And that's what you do before you go ahead and put it on your ears. Again, really simple to use, really compact, and extremely, extremely easy. Well, I wanted to discuss the side effects that I did not get with the Alpha-Stim that I got with conventional drug therapy. And I'll start in order of the drugs that they put me on when I first started. I didn't stay up for 2 days at a time and get nightmares every time I closed my eyes. Thank you, Zoloft. I didn't have the inability to urinate. Thank you, Lexapro. Oh man, where do I start with Paxil? That's what they call it. They call it Pax Hell. Now, if you're taking it, if it's helping you, thank God, and more power to you. But this stuff destroyed me. Headaches all the time, nausea all the time, more depression, more anxiety, sexual dysfunction. That was wonderful. If you read the side effects and they go, may result in delayed orgasm. Delayed until when? That's what I want to know. Next year, am I going to be in the line at the supermarket checking out stuff? I'm going to have an orgasm then? Am I going to be in my car driving someplace? And, give me a break. May. Oh, I love the words may. Okay. Paxil, Boost Bar used to give me like just lightning bolts going through my entire body like 20 minutes after I'd take the damn stuff. Klonopin wasn't so bad, except after I got dependency of taking Klonopin. Klonopin's a benzodiazepine in the same group with Valium, Xanax, Ativan, all those kind of things. Kind of a tranquilizer, and you're kind of out of it. Did help with the anxiety a little bit. So that was my favorite drug out of all the ones that I was on. But I don't take it anymore. I had what's called, with Klonopin, I finally had what's called disinhibition, which means that you can't control certain impulses. I almost put my hand through a wall because my neighbor was just making so much noise and they wouldn't stop. And I'm like the biggest sweetheart in the entire world. I mean, I just get along with everybody, and I almost just... Actually, I hit my palm so hard on the roof to tell him to shut up that I think I fractured a bone, and I wasn't able to play tennis for quite some time. All right, enough of the side effect crap. What we're going to get to is what I experienced with the Alpha-Stim. With the Alpha-Stim, a little bit of headache for the first 2 days. And also, if I turn the Alpha-Stim up a little bit too high, the room kind of moves on me. Kind of starts to move on me. I'll go a little bit dizzy. Just turn it down till that doesn't happen anymore. Goes away. That's it. That's all the side effects that I had, except for the good side effects, which is I feel like $1,000,000. So there you go. That's the big difference between drugs and the Alpha-Stim. Well, in this section, I wanted to discuss a little bit on how the Alpha-Stim has personally helped me with my own anxiety issues. And the best way that I can explain it is that with my thinking before the Alpha-Stim, I just had one highway, the anxiety highway, and the car was always going down that highway. I didn't have any other exits to get off. With the Alpha-Stim, for some reason, it gives me all these other possibilities, and my perception of events and things in my life have changed. Now it seems as though I have these little highways off to the side that I'm able to take a different way around things. So it enables your brain to have different pathways. Now, it's going to take a while for these things to happen. And of course, it's going to take a while for you to adjust to this new way of thinking, because I only had one way, which was the anxiety highway. Now I get to explore all these other little highways. And that's one of the things that's happened. Instead of something being a chore, now it's an adventure. It's hard to explain. Now, my big thing was anxiety, of course, and as soon as family or friends would call and say, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to go there? I'd get this feeling in the pit of my stomach. It's the anxiety just boom, and I don't know, no, thank you. Now, it's not so much there. I'm giving things a lot more thought and saying yes to a lot more things. And then when you say yes to a lot more things, you start to get a lot more positive experiences, and then you start... these highways that you have off to the side become larger and larger, and you have more and more possibilities. And also, you've gone down that highway a couple times, and it's not so scary anymore. You know where it's going. So it kind of pushes you subtly in the right direction instead of going on the wrong highway. It also has changed my perception of things. Things that used to bug me don't bug me so much anymore. I can't really explain it. If you have anxiety or depression, we tend to ruminate. You know, we go around in circles and we beat ourselves up because we're not doing something we're supposed to and blah, blah, blah. Well, it kind of gets you off that train. It's kind of like a little subtle push to get the car rolling downhill. We just need a little push to get the car going. We don't need a dump truck to smash us from behind. You know, we just need a subtle little push. So with the Alpha-Stim, because your brain is making your own chemicals instead of getting beat over the head with standard drug therapy and, of course, all the negative aspects with the negative side effects, you start to have a lot more positive experiences. And these positive experiences, you keep on building on them. And finally, you start to do a lot of things without even recognizing that you've changed. So that's the best way I can kind of describe it. You're going to have your own experiences. And please, if you try the Alpha-Stim, keep in touch with me and let me know how you're doing. Okay? Thanks. Well, the Alpha-Stim is an FDA-approved device, and as such, you're going to need a prescription from your healthcare practitioner in order to try one. And of course, if you're using any kind of medication now for anxiety, depression, or insomnia, you're going to want to slowly taper off that when you use the Alpha-Stim or in conjunction with the Alpha-Stim. And you may need to tweak your dosages a little bit. So you want to have a doctor's supervision when you do this, because you know, tapering off those kind of drugs can be quite challenging, and you want to make sure that you're monitored during this time period. Now, what I did was that I talked to my doctor over the phone. He actually returned my phone call, which was unusual, and told him that I wanted to try the Alpha-Stim, and he was not familiar with it. So what I did was I printed out a bunch of information that I got from the Alpha-Stim website. And you also have to print out an authorization form that the doctor's going to have to look over and sign, and that's your prescription. And you'll take this form, and once you get it, you're going to want to fax it or send it in the mail to the Alpha-Stim people. What I did was I went ahead and sent him everything in the mail that he would need in a manila envelope, and the reason being is that this is odd size, and he'd be more likely to open it and give it some attention. In the package, I also included a self-addressed stamped envelope so that all he had to do was sign the form, put it in the envelope, send it on back to me. So you might want to use the same kind of approach. I didn't have to go into the office that way. I saved a trip to his office, and I saved some money for not having to go into the office. So I'm all for saving money, of course. So that was kind of my approach. I don't see why a doctor would not let you try the Alpha-Stim unless there was some kind of pre-existing condition they were concerned about. If you wear a pacemaker, I think that there's some precautionary measures, or I'm not even sure that you can use the Alpha-Stim if you wear a pacemaker. But discuss it with your doctor. Go ahead, you know, get off your butt and make the commitment that you want to give this a try. Go ahead, print out the stuff. It's not that difficult. Print out the stuff, put it in the mail. Once you get it, fax it on off to the people. Get your Alpha-Stim, give it a try. I really hope that this review has helped you and also has given you some hope that there is a way for you to treat your anxiety, insomnia, or depression with a non-drug therapy without all the side effects of standard drug therapy. If you think about the cost of the Alpha-Stim, and it's not inexpensive, and I realize that, but you think about how much drug therapy would cost. You think about how many times you have to go back to your physician to be monitored because you're changing your dosage or you're first starting a new drug. When you add all that up, it's a lot more than giving the Alpha-Stim a try. So thanks again for spending some time with me here. And I'd like to hear your questions and comments, if you do, of the Alpha-Stim. And also, if you use the Alpha-Stim, please keep in touch and let me know how you're doing. Okay? As always, I wish you the best of health. Thanks again. Bye-bye.